Hello there, chocolate friends. Welcome to the third episode of our Choco con Choco series. This time around, we'll be looking at our post-harvest and our manufacturing process, all within our vertically integrated system. So sit back, relax, enjoy. My name is Armando Choco, and I'm proud to bring this episode to you. So last week, we started to talk about our vertical integration process. We looked first at the nursery, then our farms. Today, we're going to focus on our post-harvest process and our manufacturing process. We discussed last week about the special attention taken to select the seeds which we use to propagate our cacao trees. We discussed the process our team take in cultivating the cacao trees on the farm. We discussed also the process we do in collecting cacao beans from 150 of our farmers, all within the Toledo district. Today, we're going to focus on some of the critical control points at the post-harvest stage and at the manufacturing stage. It goes without saying, our chocolate flavor is as best as the arduous dedication and effort made during the cultivation and post-harvest. Well, that can be countenanced as I too sometimes implicate myself by saying that it is my magic that goes into creating the good flavor profile of our chocolate. I'm certain that my chocolate friends would lavish those sparred moments also when they overzealously say that, look, I also do my magic, and it's the process in the manufacturing that really matters. Well, the truth be told, chocolate starts from the farm. But what cannot be overly emphasized is the post-harvest process. Right? It is one of the critical control points for quality cacao beans. Fermentation, drying, selection are critical areas in the post-harvest process that determines whether the cacao beans are fit for chocolate by any chocolate maker standards. Many of my colleagues would go on to establish that fermentation is perhaps one of the most fundamental process, the building blocks that establish precursors for flavor development. Those precursors are further enhanced during the roasting process. At Mahogany Chocolate, we do not object that post-harvest is a critical component of our process. As a matter of fact, quality control, traceability, and critical control point systems are enshrined within our core principle. So let's go and look at our Mahogany Cacao Plantation depot. At our depot, we have our fermentation boxes, and we also have our drying facility. It's also at this area that we do the selection of the cacao beans before they are bagged, ready for mahogany chocolate or for export. So the beans are collected from 150 of our growers, or at the moment, we started our first harvest from our Mahogany plantation. And so those beans are amalgamated, they come to our depot, our quality control guy takes them to the fermentation process. We have a 3-tiered fermentation system. Wet beans go to the top of the box, and then from there, it is fermented for 6 days, or depending when the quality control specialist determine that it is already fermented and it's ready for drying. After the fermentation, the beans are then taken to our drying facility. Now we rely on solar passive energy. We rely on the sun to dry our beans. The cacao beans are laid out on the drying decks, and our quality team ensure that these beans are turned at least 3 times for the day, ensuring that we have even drying. Once it's fully dried and that they're tested and it has a moisture content of approximately 6.5%, then it is taken from the drying decks and taken to the sorting area. During this stage, again, the beans are sorted. All the bad beans, all the small beans, all the foreign debris or objects that are in the beans are taken out, and we only have very good beans. It's also during this stage that we do a cut test. We take a random sample from the batch, we do a cut test, and we check for fermentation rate. We do some taste tests to basically determine the category of flavor profiles our bean has, and we record them. And all these data, including the weight, the time, the lot number they were assigned to, are all part of our traceability system. After the beans are approved, they're bagged, then they are stored, ready for export or ready to take to Mahogany chocolate, where they will further be processed into chocolate products. So we've looked at the post-harvest process, our depot operated by Peony Cacao Plantation. Now let's look at our manufacturing facility operated by Mahogany Chocolate. So follow me. So this is the first stage of our chocolate manufacturing process. Through that door, our raw cacao beans would come in, and they're laid here. Because we are craft chocolate makers, practically 100% of our cacao beans are hand selected. Man, you might be thinking we hand select every single one of those beans. No, what we mean is we extract all the shriveled beans, all the beans that may have been germinated, that somehow found its way through the lot that we receive here. Those are the beans that we extract, we remove, and only the best beans then taken to the next stage for roasting. At the moment, we just basically do convection roasting. We roast the cacao beans for somewhere around 20 to 25 minutes. At that stage, we found out that the roast profile works well with our cacao beans. And then after that, we crack and winnow using our FBM cracker winnower. And this machine would crack the beans first, extract all the husk from it, and we have only the nibs. From the nibs, we take on to the next stage where we pre-grind the nibs and make basically our cacao mass, but more of a coarse cacao mass. So we have our refiner, we bring our cacao nibs, and to the bottom we have cocoa mass. And basically what comes out there is a liquid paste, because the cocoa is comprised of, on average, approximately 50% cacao fat, or cocoa butter is what, and that's another product that we also make here, and we'll show you that process in a few. After we take the cocoa mass and then we further refine it into chocolate. This is our refining room, and at this stage we bring the cocoa mass or the cocoa paste and we put them in our refiners. We have 4 of them here, where we bring the cacao mass and first bring them into this 120 kilogram refiner. It will refine for about 24 hours, and at that stage we have basically refined cocoa mass, cacao liquor. And at that stage we decide whether we will further take it through the chocolate making process or we make it into butter or powder. Once we've decided we're going to make butter or powder, then we bring them into our butter press, and this hydraulic press will then extract the cocoa fat or the cocoa butter from the cacao mass, and in the chamber you will end up having just pure cacao solids, and that cacao solids is further refined to make cacao powder. If we're not going to make cacao butter or cacao powder, and we're going to continue to make our famous broke down chocolate, our revered Belizean 72% dark chocolate bar, or for any of the other percentages of chocolate that we make, then we take from this first refiner into this refiner. These 2 refiner will then process them into finished chocolate. During that stage, we would add sugar, butter, or any other ingredients depending on the percentage or the type of chocolate we're making at the time. we would add them at that stage, and they will continue to refine for another 2 days before they are ready. And of course, during that time, we do quality checks. We ensure that at that stage, it is giving us the result that we desire. We do some taste tests. We basically visually analyze the chocolate. And once we are super contented, and of course, by now we've established some of those parameters already. At what time do we check them for the day? How long we expect them for it to complete the production process? And once that is done, we then take to the next stage, which is molding. So this is our molding and packaging room. So we are in our tempering room. During this stage, the finished chocolate comes to this room, and we take them into finished chocolate bar, or molded into chocolate bars. So tempering is very critical in the chocolate making process. It is the process that allows us to mold our chocolate into specific size or tablet. So we make our Belizean range, and we do that first by using our Compata tempering machine. And this machine will be able to cool the chocolate within a specific period of time, and it allows us to deposit just the required amount for our bar. In this case, we're doing our 90-gram Belizean chocolate bar, and once it's deposited, then we take them into fridge to cool for about 15 to 20 minutes, at which time the chocolate would harden properly and well tempered, and then it will basically be easy to extract from the chocolate mold. So there you have it, folks. Thank you very much for your time. We looked at our vertical integrated facility. We took you through the process from seed to tree to bean to finished chocolate bar. Thank you very much for your time. In the next episode, we'll talk more about our growers. We'll look at their individual profile. We'll talk about their daily lives and all their effort that goes into making the cacao beans that we desire to make our finished chocolate bar. So thank you very much, and have a happy chocolate day.